Picture this: a once grand theater, now abandoned, stands silent under the weight of decades. Its walls, cracked and crumbling, whisper tales of a forgotten past. The air is thick with dust, and the only light comes from the faint glow of a moon struggling to pierce through the broken roof. But the most unsettling feature of this forsaken place isn't the decay or the silence, it's the curtains. Massive, heavy, and impossibly dark, they hang across the stage like a living shadow. They don't just drape, they seem to breathe, shifting ever so slightly when no one is watching. Some say they move on their own, as if hiding something behind their velvet folds. Others swear they've heard whispers, faint and chilling, coming from behind them. What secrets do these curtains hold? What darkness lies waiting, just out of sight? Tonight, we step into the eerie world of the enigmatic theater curtains of darkness, where the line between reality and nightmare blurs, and the past refuses to stay buried. Stay with us, because what you're about to uncover will leave you questioning what's real and what's waiting in the shadows. To truly understand the mystery of the theater curtains, we must first step back in time to the theater's origins. Built in the late 19th century, the theater was once a beacon of culture and grandeur, a place where the elite gathered to witness the finest performances of the era. Its grand opening was a spectacle unlike any other, with chandeliers glittering like stars and the air filled with the hum of excitement. For decades, it thrived, hosting operas, plays, and concerts that drew crowds from far and wide. The golden years of the theater were marked by standing ovations, sold-out shows, and a reputation as the crown jewel of the city's art scene. But as the years passed, the theater's fortunes began to wane. The first whispers of trouble came not from the critics or the audience, but from the shadows behind the stage. Shortly after the installation of the now infamous curtains, strange occurrences began to plague the theater. Stagehands reported tools going missing, only to reappear in odd places. Actors claimed to hear faint whispers during rehearsals, though no one else was around. And then there were the shadows, flickering movements seen out of the corner of the eye, always just beyond the reach of the light. The final blow came with a series of tragic events that sealed the theater's fate. A fire broke out during a performance, though it was quickly extinguished, leaving behind only scorch marks and a lingering sense of unease. Then, a beloved actor collapsed on stage during a pivotal scene. His death ruled a sudden illness, though many suspected something darker at play. Attendance plummeted, and the theater's once bustling halls fell silent. By the mid-20th century, the doors were closed for good, leaving behind a legacy of beauty, brilliance, and something far more sinister. Rumors of the theater's cursed curtains spread like wildfire, with locals claiming the fabric itself was alive, feeding on the energy of those who dared to perform behind it. Some even believed the curtains were a gateway, a portal to a realm where the past and present intertwined, and where the line between the living and the dead blurred. As we delve deeper into the story, these whispers of the supernatural will only grow louder, pulling us further into the enigma of the theater curtains of darkness. Now let's turn our attention to the arrival of the curtains themselves, a moment that would forever change the theater's fate. When the curtains were first delivered, they came shrouded in secrecy, wrapped in heavy black cloth, as if to conceal something otherworldly. The workers tasked with installing them were seasoned professionals, yet they couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The fabric, a deep crimson with intricate gold embroidery, seemed to shimmer unnaturally under the stage lights, as though it had a life of its own. The installation process was anything but ordinary. Workers reported hearing faint whispers as they unrolled the fabric, though no one else was nearby. Tools would slip from their hands and shadows would dart across the walls, even when the room was empty. One worker claimed to have seen the curtains ripple on their own, as if stirred by an invisible breeze. Another swore he heard a low, mournful hum emanating from the fabric, a sound that sent chills down his spine. Even before the theater officially opened, strange occurrences began to multiply. During rehearsals, actors would catch glimpses of shadowy figures moving behind the curtains, though no one was there. Stagehands reported feeling an icy draft near the stage, despite the building's heating system working perfectly. And then there were the whispers, soft, indistinct murmurs that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Some dismissed these incidents as nerves or overactive imaginations, but others couldn't shake the feeling that the curtains were more than just fabric. As the opening night approached, the sense of unease grew. The curtains, now fully installed, seemed to dominate the stage, their presence almost oppressive. Some believed they were cursed, while others whispered of darker possibilities, that the curtains were a conduit for something ancient and malevolent. Whatever the truth, one thing was clear. The arrival of these enigmatic curtains marked the beginning of the theater's descent into darkness, a descent that would soon claim more than just its reputation. With the stage set and the curtains in place, the theater was ready to open its doors. But as we'll soon discover, the performances that followed would be far from ordinary, and the shadows behind the curtains would grow ever more restless. As the theater opened its doors to the public, the first signs of darkness began to creep into the lives of those who stepped onto the stage. Actors, once confident and composed, now spoke of strange occurrences that left them unnerved. During rehearsals, whispers would echo from behind the curtains, faint but unmistakable, as though someone or something was watching, waiting. The voices were never clear enough to understand, but their presence was undeniable, a constant reminder that the stage was no longer a place of safety. One actress, known for her poise and professionalism, broke down in tears after a particularly unsettling rehearsal. She described feeling an icy breath on the back of her neck, though no one stood behind her. Another actor claimed to have seen a shadowy figure dart across the stage, only to vanish the moment he turned to look. These incidents were dismissed as tricks of the light or overactive imaginations at first, but as the days went on, the stories grew harder to ignore. The unseen presence seemed to grow bolder with each performance. Stagehands reported tools going missing, only to reappear in strange, impossible places like the top of the curtains, far out of reach. Lights would flicker without explanation, casting eerie shadows that danced across the stage, and then there were the whispers, growing louder, more insistent, as though whatever lurked behind the curtains was trying to communicate. One night, during a pivotal scene, the lead actress froze mid-line, her eyes wide with terror. She later confessed that she had felt an invisible hand grip her shoulder, cold and unyielding, as though urging her to stop. The audience, unaware of what had happened, assumed it was part of the performance, but the cast and crew knew better. The theater, once a place of art and expression, had become a stage for something far more sinister. As the weeks passed, the tension backstage became palpable. Actors exchanged nervous glances, and stagehands worked in uneasy silence, their eyes darting toward the curtains as though expecting them to move on their own. The whispers grew louder, the shadows deeper, and the sense of dread more oppressive. It was clear that the curtains were no mere backdrop. They were a gateway, and whatever lay beyond was growing restless. With each passing night, the line between performance and reality blurred, and the theater's descent into darkness became impossible to ignore. But this was only the beginning. As we'll soon see, the shadows behind the curtains had far more in store, and the next chapter of this chilling tale would leave no doubt that the theater was no longer under human control. The tension in the theater reached its breaking point one fateful evening, during what would become its most infamous performance. The lead actor, a man known for his commanding presence and flawless delivery, stepped onto the stage as he had countless times before. But this night was different. As he began his monologue, the air grew heavy, and the whispers from behind the curtains swelled into a deafening murmur. The audience, unaware of the growing unease backstage, watched in rapt attention as the actor paused mid-sentence, his face contorting in terror. Before anyone could react, the stage lights flickered violently, plunging the theater into darkness. When the lights returned, the actor was gone. His costume lay crumpled on the stage floor, as if he had simply vanished from within it. A trail of blood, fresh and glistening, led from the spot where he had stood straight to the base of the curtains. The audience, still unsure if this was part of the performance, erupted into nervous laughter, but the cast and crew knew better. Panic erupted backstage as the director shouted for someone to check the curtains. No one dared to approach them. The whispers had stopped, replaced by an eerie silence that seemed to press down on everyone in the room. The stagehands, usually quick to act, stood frozen in place, their eyes fixed on the blood-stained trail. The lead actress, trembling and pale, whispered to no one in particular, "He's gone. They took him." The police were called, but their investigation yielded no answers. The actor's disappearance was as baffling as it was horrifying. No signs of a struggle, no evidence of foul play, just the costume, the blood, and the curtains that seemed to loom larger than ever. The cast and crew, now gripped by a collective sense of dread, began to unravel. Some refused to return to the theater, while others whispered of curses and malevolent forces. The director, desperate to maintain order, tried to reassure everyone that it was a tragic but explainable event. Yet even he couldn't ignore the growing sense that the theater was no longer under their control. The curtains, once a symbol of artistry and grandeur, now seemed alive, their dark fabric rippling faintly even when no breeze stirred the air. As the days turned into weeks, the fear only deepened. The whispers returned, louder and more insistent than before, and the shadows on stage seemed to move with a purpose. The cast and crew, once a tight-knit group, began to turn on one another, their nerves frayed by the unrelenting tension. The theater, once a place of dreams, had become a nightmare, and the disappearance of the lead actor was only the beginning. What followed would push them all to the brink, as the curtains began to reveal their true nature, and the darkness behind them grew impossible to ignore. As the dust settled on the actor's disappearance, the theater became the center of a storm of investigations and speculation. The police arrived in force, combing every inch of the building for clues. They interviewed the cast and crew, examined the stage, and even brought in forensic experts to analyze the bloodstains. Yet, despite their thorough efforts, the case remained a mystery. There were no signs of forced entry, no fingerprints, and no trace of the actor's body. The only evidence was the blood trail leading to the curtains, a trail that seemed to defy logic, as if it had been drawn by an unseen hand. As the official investigation stalled, whispers of the supernatural began to take hold. Paranormal experts were called in, drawn by the theater's growing reputation as a place of unexplained phenomena. They conducted seances, set up recording equipment, and even attempted to communicate with whatever force might be at work. Some claimed to hear faint voices in their recordings, while others reported sudden drops in temperature and the sensation of being watched. One investigator, a seasoned medium, described the curtains as a portal, a gateway to something ancient and malevolent. Theories began to circulate among the cast, crew, and even the public. Some believed the curtains were cursed, perhaps imbued with dark energy by their mysterious creator. Others speculated that the theater itself was built on unhallowed ground, its foundations steeped in tragedy. A few even suggested that the actor had been taken by something not of this world, a being that lurked behind the fabric, waiting for its next victim. Despite the lack of concrete evidence, the belief in the supernatural grew stronger. The police, unable to provide answers, quietly closed the case, leaving the theater's mysteries unresolved. For those who had witnessed the events firsthand, the explanations offered little comfort. The curtains remained, their dark fabric rippling faintly, as if taunting those who dared to question their power. As the weeks turned into months, the theater became a place of fear and fascination. Paranormal enthusiasts flocked to the building, hoping to catch a glimpse of the unexplained. Yet even they could not ignore the sense of dread that seemed to emanate from the stage. The curtains, once a symbol of artistry, had become a symbol of something far darker, a reminder that some mysteries are better left unsolved. And so the investigations faded, but the questions lingered. What truly happened to the actor? What force lay behind the curtains? And why did the whispers grow louder with each passing day? The answers, it seemed, were hidden in the shadows, waiting for someone brave enough to uncover them. As the whispers of the supernatural grew louder, it wasn't just the cast and crew who began to feel the unsettling presence of the theater's cursed curtains. The audience, too, started to experience strange and inexplicable phenomena during performances. What began as isolated incidents soon became a pattern, spreading fear and unease among those who dared to sit in the dimly lit auditorium. One night, during a particularly tense scene, a woman in the front row claimed to hear a faint, raspy voice whispering her name. She turned to her companion, only to find them staring at the stage in stunned silence. Others reported seeing shadowy figures moving across the stage, their forms flickering in and out of view like ghosts caught in the dim light. Some described the figures as human-like, while others insisted they were something far more sinister, elongated, distorted shapes that seemed to defy the laws of nature. A man seated in the balcony recounted how, during a quiet moment in the play, he felt an icy breath on the back of his neck. When he turned, there was no one there, but the sensation lingered, leaving him too shaken to stay for the rest of the performance. Another attendee, a young woman, swore she saw the curtains twitch and ripple as if something were moving behind them, even though the stage was empty. These experiences were not limited to a single performance. Night after night, more audience members came forward with their own stories. Some claimed to hear faint laughter echoing through the theater, while others spoke of an overwhelming sense of dread that made it impossible to stay seated. One family left mid-show after their child pointed to the stage and asked, Who's that man standing in the shadows? A question that sent chills down their spines, as no one else could see the figure. As word spread, the theater's reputation shifted from a place of entertainment to a site of terror. Attendance dwindled, with many refusing to return after their harrowing experiences. Those who did come often left before the final act, their faces pale and their hands trembling. The once thriving venue became a ghost of its former self, its seats increasingly empty as fear took hold of the community. Yet, despite the growing unease, there were those who couldn't resist the allure of the unknown. Curiosity seekers and thrill seekers flocked to the theater, hoping to witness the strange occurrences for themselves. But even they couldn't deny the oppressive atmosphere that seemed to hang over the auditorium, a palpable sense of something watching, waiting, just beyond the reach of the light. The curtains, now a symbol of both mystery and menace, continued to ripple faintly, as if alive. For those who sat in the audience, the line between reality and the supernatural blurred, leaving them questioning what was real and what lay hidden in the shadows. And as the whispers grew louder, so did the fear that the curtains were not just a barrier between the stage and the audience, but a gateway to something far more terrifying. With each passing night, the theater's dark reputation solidified, and the question lingered, what was it about those curtains that seemed to draw people in, only to leave them haunted by what they saw, or thought they saw? The answer, it seemed, was as elusive as the shadows themselves. As the theater's dark reputation grew, the final performance became an event shrouded in both dread and morbid curiosity. The night began like any other, with the audience filing into the auditorium, their whispers a mix of excitement and unease. The cast, though visibly nervous, took their places behind the heavy, velvet curtains, their usual pre-show rituals tinged with an air of foreboding. The moment the lights dimmed, an unnatural stillness settled over the room. The curtains, usually drawn back with a smooth, mechanical precision, seemed to hesitate. Then, as if guided by an unseen hand, they began to move, slowly at first, then with a deliberate, almost predatory grace. The audience watched in stunned silence as the fabric rippled and twisted, its movements too fluid, too alive to be mere machinery. When the curtains finally parted, the stage was not illuminated as expected. Instead, a deep, impenetrable darkness spilled out, swallowing the light and casting the entire auditorium into shadow. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the crowd as the actors, now barely visible, stepped forward. Their voices, once strong and clear, were drowned out by a low, guttural hum that seemed to emanate from the very walls of the theater. Midway through the first act, the chaos began. A sudden, deafening crash echoed through the space, and the stage lights flickered wildly. The actors froze, their faces pale and eyes wide with terror. From the darkness behind them, shadowy figures emerged, elongated, distorted shapes that moved with an unnatural fluidity. The audience screamed as the figures reached out, their forms shifting and writhing like smoke caught in a breeze. One actor, unable to bear the mounting fear, bolted from the stage, only to be swallowed by the darkness before he could reach the wings. His cries were cut short, leaving an eerie silence in their wake. The remaining cast members huddled together, their voices trembling as they tried to continue the performance, but the darkness seemed to press in on them, suffocating and relentless. In the audience, panic erupted. People scrambled over seats, desperate to escape the oppressive atmosphere. Some claimed to feel icy hands brushing against them as they fled, while others swore they heard whispers calling their names. A young couple near the exit later recounted how the curtains seemed to reach out toward them, the fabric twisting and curling like tendrils of smoke. By the time the theater was emptied, the stage was a scene of utter devastation. The curtains, now still, hung in tatters, their once lustrous fabric reduced to shreds. The actors, shaken and pale, refused to speak of what they had seen, their silence only adding to the growing sense of dread. The theater never reopened. In the days that followed, the building was sealed, its doors locked and windows boarded. Yet, even in its abandonment, the whispers persisted. Locals claimed to hear faint laughter echoing from within, and some swore they saw the curtains twitch and ripple, as if something still moved behind them. The final performance marked the end of an era, but it also cemented the theater's place in local legend. To this day, the question remains, what truly happened that night? And what or who still lingers behind those enigmatic curtains of darkness? As the years passed, the abandoned theater became a breeding ground for urban legends and local myths, each more chilling than the last. Stories began to circulate among the townsfolk, whispered in hushed tones over cups of coffee, or shared around flickering campfires. One of the most persistent tales spoke of ghostly apparitions seen wandering the theater's decaying halls. Witnesses claimed to glimpse shadowy figures gliding across the stage, their forms flickering in and out of existence like echoes of a forgotten performance. Some even swore they saw the lead actor who had vanished that fateful night, his face frozen in a mask of terror as he stared out from behind the tattered curtains. Another popular legend suggested that the curtains themselves were not merely cursed, but served as a gateway to another realm. Locals spoke of strange, otherworldly sounds emanating from the theater late at night, muffled voices, distant laughter, and the faint strains of music that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. Paranormal enthusiasts theorized that the curtains acted as a portal, allowing entities from another dimension to slip into our world. This belief was fueled by accounts of explorers who ventured into the theater, only to return with stories of feeling an overwhelming sense of being watched, as if unseen eyes followed their every move. One particularly eerie myth told of a group of teenagers who dared to spend the night in the theater on a dare. According to their account, the curtains began to move on their own, slowly parting to reveal a swirling void of darkness. Terrified, the group fled, but not before one of them claimed to have seen a hand, pale and skeletal, reach out from the void, as if trying to pull them in. The story spread like wildfire, cementing the theater's reputation as a place of unspeakable horror. Even those who never set foot inside the building contributed to its mystique. Neighbors reported seeing the curtains twitch and ripple from the outside, as though something or someone was moving behind them. Others spoke of hearing faint whispers carried on the wind, their words unintelligible but undeniably menacing. The theater became a focal point for ghost hunters and thrill seekers, each hoping to uncover the truth behind its dark legacy. Yet, for all the stories and speculation, the true nature of the curtains remains a mystery. Are they truly a gateway to another realm, or are they simply a vessel for the theater's tragic past? The legends endure, passed down through generations, each retelling adding new layers of fear and fascination. And as long as the theater stands, its enigmatic curtains will continue to haunt the imaginations of those who dare to wonder what lies beyond. As we delve deeper into the modern-day encounters with this cursed place, The question lingers, what secrets do the curtains still hold, and who or what might be waiting on the other side? In recent years, the abandoned theater has continued to draw the curious and the brave, each hoping to uncover the truth behind its cursed curtains. Among them are paranormal investigators armed with cameras, audio recorders, and a determination to document the unexplained. One team, known for their work on haunted locations, spent a night inside the theater, capturing chilling evidence that has since become the subject of heated debate. Their recordings revealed faint whispers, seemingly coming from the stage, though no one was present. At one point, the curtains were seen shifting on their own, as if stirred by an unseen force. The investigators described an overwhelming feeling of unease, as though the very air around them was alive with malice. One member of the team later recounted how they felt an icy hand brush against their shoulder, only to turn and find nothing there. Urban explorers, too, have ventured into the theater, documenting its decay and the eerie atmosphere that clings to every corner. Many report hearing footsteps echoing in empty hallways, or seeing shadows dart across the walls. Some have even captured photographs of the curtains, which appear to ripple unnaturally, as if something were moving behind them. One explorer claimed to have seen a face, pale and gaunt, peering out from the folds of the fabric, only for it to vanish moments later. Perhaps the most unsettling account comes from a group of thrill seekers who decided to camp out on the stage itself. As night fell, they claimed the curtains began to emit a low, rhythmic hum, like the distant tolling of a bell. Suddenly, the hum grew louder, and the curtains parted slightly, revealing a darkness so profound it seemed to swallow the light from their flashlights. Terrified, the group fled, but not before one of them swore they heard a voice whisper, "Stay." These modern-day encounters only deepen the mystery of the theater and its enigmatic curtains. Whether it's the whispers, the shadows, or the inexplicable movements of the fabric, each experience adds another layer to the legend. And while skeptics argue that fear and imagination can play tricks on the mind, those who have stood in the presence of the curtains insist that something far more sinister is at work. As we turn our attention to the theories behind the curtain's power, one thing becomes clear. This is no ordinary haunting. The theater's dark legacy lives on, and the curtains remain a chilling reminder of the unknown forces that may lie just beyond our understanding. Now, as we delve into the theories behind the curtain's power, the mystery only deepens. What could be the source of their eerie influence? Some believe the curtains are tied to an ancient curse, a malevolent force bound to the theater long before its grand opening. According to this theory, the curtains were crafted from fabric imbued with dark magic, perhaps as part of a ritual gone wrong. This would explain their unnatural movements and the whispers that seem to emanate from them, as if the fabric itself holds a trapped, restless energy. Others propose a more modern yet equally chilling explanation, that the curtains act as a gateway to another dimension. This idea suggests that the theater sits on a thin veil between worlds, and the curtains serve as a portal. The strange hum reported by those who camped on the stage, the shadows that dart across the walls, and the face glimpsed within the folds of the fabric could all be signs of entities attempting to cross over. If true, the curtains might not just be cursed, they could be a doorway to something far beyond our understanding. Another compelling theory ties the curtains directly to the theater's dark history. The tragedies that unfolded within its walls, the disappearances, the accidents, the overwhelming sense of dread may have left an indelible mark on the building itself. Some paranormal experts argue that the curtains are a physical manifestation of this accumulated pain and fear, acting as a kind of psychic sponge that absorbs the emotions of those who perform or watch from the audience. Over time, this energy could have taken on a life of its own, giving the curtains their unsettling, almost sentient behavior. Skeptics, of course, offer more grounded explanations. They suggest that the phenomena associated with the curtains could be the result of environmental factors, such as drafts, vibrations, or even the power of suggestion. After all, the theater's reputation as a haunted location might prime visitors to interpret ordinary occurrences as supernatural. Yet, even the most hardened skeptics struggle to explain away the sheer volume of first-hand accounts, each describing eerily similar experiences. As we consider these theories, one thing remains certain: the curtains are more than just fabric. Whether they are cursed, a portal, or a manifestation of the theater's dark past, their power continues to captivate and terrify. And as long as the theater stands, the mystery of what lies behind them will endure, inviting us to question what we know about the boundaries between our world and the unknown. As we bring this haunting tale to a close, the enigmatic theater curtains of darkness remain as mysterious as ever. From their eerie arrival to the chilling events that followed, these curtains have left an indelible mark on all who encountered them. Whether cursed by ancient magic, serving as a portal to another realm, or embodying the theater's tragic past, their power defies explanation. The stories of whispers, shadows, and disappearances continue to fuel both fear and fascination, reminding us that some mysteries are never meant to be solved. The theater, now a crumbling relic of its former glory, stands as a testament to the enduring allure of the unknown. Those who dare to venture inside still report strange occurrences, faint murmurs, fleeting movements, and an overwhelming sense of dread. The curtains, though tattered and worn, seem to pulse with a life of their own, as if guarding secrets too terrifying to reveal. What do you think lies behind these enigmatic curtains? Could they truly be a gateway to another world, or are they simply a reflection of the darkness within us all? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your theories. And if you enjoyed this spine-tingling journey into the unknown, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more dark bedtime stories. Until next time, stay curious, but be careful what you wish to uncover. The shadows are always watching.